It is 12:58. Good afternoon. I'm Lucas Panzica. NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell is currently testifying before Congress on the Washington Commanders' toxic workplace culture, fielding questions about Dave Portnoy, about Deflategate, and a few questions about the investigation into Washington. House Oversight Committee Chairwoman Maloney did announce today that she is issuing a subpoena for Washington Commanders owner Daniel Snyder to testify next week. He had previously refused to do so. Tampa Bay Buccaneers tight end Rob Gronkowski announced his retirement on Tuesday for the second time in his career at the age of 33. Gronkowski's career spanned 11 seasons in the NFL, including over 9,000 receiving yards and 92 total touchdowns, and, of course, Super Bowl championships with both the Patriots and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. College World Series, 4 teams remain in Omaha, 3 of them out of the SEC. Double elimination action this afternoon includes Texas A&M taking on Oklahoma at 1 and Arkansas facing Ole Miss. That's tonight at 6. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. What's going on, everybody? Happy, what is it? It's Wednesday. We're hump day already. Man. It's hump day. Some tells me that whoever you are, whatever you're doing, you're having a better day than Roger Goodell is.
No doubt.
That dude.
Well, no, I don't know. I mean, I think a lot of people, I think he's still doing all right. I mean, how much is he? I thought he was making $40 million. I just saw another number that he's making like $60 million.
I thought it was 45.
I thought someone said it was more than that. So, yeah, he needs to sit up here and answer all those questions. I don't care if we were asking whatever question. I don't know. I heard you guys earlier, but I like the setup because guess what? You want to rattle him. And he does sound a little nervous from what you hear. And you ask him questions about things in the past. Granted, it's taking up time, but his typical lawyer form is you kind of throw the curveball, then you come back with that fastball. See, so later on or maybe tomorrow, we'll ask him about what we really want him here for while he's sitting there gathering his thoughts. So I like it because I always love to put the people with the power in front of the stand. Because they always find a way to avoid. Oh, right, Snyder? Oh, yeah, no, I'm not coming. Yeah, I'm not. No, I can't do that. I'm being France.
Isn't he? He's in Cannes, right? He's watching films.
Yeah. He is allegedly in France. In a yacht.
Yeah. They said, well, we can Zoom.
Yes. Right, the film festival.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, right. Well, you can Zoom. We'll Zoom for you. Like, no, I don't have time for that. I can't do that. Yeah, we're accommodating you. Yeah. For those who have the power, let's bring them to the court. They don't want to go to court.
Well, they
and all those tax breaks the NFL gets? Really? Come on. Roger got to answer for all these old rich cats.
That's why he makes the big bucks. Go take it. He takes it all on their shoulders. Yeah. Okay.
Man, they could pay me $50 million. I take their blows all day. I would have said, I cannot recall.
Well, sure. He's an attorney, too. It's not like he's not a lawyer. He knows.
I cannot recall.
No, remember. I cannot recall. No, I don't
remember that one.
No.
Nope, don't recall. It'd be all different tones of different. I can't recall.
It doesn't ring a bell.
Yeah, man.
Maybe
they
I
even asked him if
misremembered.
what's the good one guy? Why he banned the one guy that works for
Dave Portnoy.
Yeah, Barstool. Yeah, they asked him why he banned him from going.
Not familiar with that situation.
I know, I can't believe he said that. Like, what? You did this. Ask him about Deflategate, deflating the balls.
Well, if you got any beef with him, any of your constituents, I'm sure they're like, hey, man, you better jump in there and ask some questions because this is your time to grill the commissioner. So go after him. Get him for all of us.
Yeah, well, they are definitely doing that. They're also wasting a lot of time, but I think they're going a little too far, but I'm cool with it. I know a lot of people are, but I'm cool with it. What I'm not really cool with is that my screen is off and all the other screens are on, man. What's going on here? Is the power just turned off here? You know I don't know how to work anything in here.
These screens just kind of come and go. We can read your responses to stuff on Zone TV on these screens, so anytime you want to jump into the discussion, you can do it there. You can always call us on the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline. We are always taking your phone calls there. I know this happened yesterday. We were at Puckett's, and Gronk retired, and we were doing the show. And when things happen while you're on the air, you can't go and read this or read that. You're just trying to kind of keep everything, keep the boat from hitting the bank. And by the time I got home and had a chance to read, basically Drew Rosenhaus had already said, I think he's going to play again if Tom calls it. So we're trying to think, what's his legacy? And is he – because he's got
we also said, though, I mean, if, halfway through the season, somebody gets injured, they call him. I think he'd come back.
That's the first thing we brought up.
Because you were talking about, $3 million or whatever the number would be, it would be more than that.
Because you said, maybe they called him and were like, hey, man, this is all we got room for. It's about $3 million. He's like, I think I'm retired. But then as you said, there's 5 games left in the year. Guy gets hurt. Mm-hmm. How about that $3 million now? Mm-hmm. Ooh, $3 million.
Well, it'd probably be more like 5 in this day and age. But
Mm-hmm. That sounds good. And you guys are like 9-3, so you're gonna make the play. Yeah. I'll go make another playoff run. Sure. I'm not going to believe that he's anywhere near retired until the whole season happens, because he actually retired for a whole season once.
He did,
and then came back, let his body heal, and I remember having the discussion on the radio when he came back of what kind of person would he be, and I said, I still think he can be effective.
Oh, yeah,
he's not going to be Gronk anymore, but he's so big, he'll block, he'll throw himself in people's way.
Oh, he does all the dirty work. He
does.
For a guy of his stature and what he does and brings to the table. Yeah, he was no longer the I'm going to outrun you, I'm bigger than you type player. And he'll stretch the defense. He was more move to change.
Yeah.
I'm going to break your tackle. I'm a block guy, which is, actually really good still in today's game. They had drafted 2 tight ends, by the way. Remember, I said that too. I thought they did. And so they really don't need a tight end. This is all about Tom Brady and their relationship. And, hey, man, if you come for minimum, then we'll see where we go. I bet you that's what they're saying. But I don't know. Something about Gronk makes you always feel if Tom's on the team, Gronk has a shot of being on the team. Because he's not – I wouldn't go play for anybody else. I mean, they're one of the best duos. I think they are second in most TD passes from quarterback to any receiver, but him as a tight end. But I think Marvin Harrison and Peyton Manning are number 1 duo. So to even be in that conversation and you're a tight end for touchdowns, I think is pretty impressive. So
we were wondering how many he had. He has 92 touchdowns, and then I think he had 15 more in the postseason. 15. There are people who don't score 15 touchdowns in their career that play a pretty good while. He has like 15 in the postseason. And we were talking about him yesterday, and I said one of the things I always felt like he was a red zone threat. But he didn't like run and jump over somebody. It would just be that back shoulder throw where he kind of puts his elbow out and catches it in his other hand. And he's so big and so wide, he would just post a guy away from the ball.
Block him out.
Every time.
Yeah, just like, a guy like me. Yeah, he block out. And you're like, what am I supposed to do? Hold, get a penalty?
Oh, yeah, 100% I'm going to hold.
Absolutely. I'm saying then they get on the 1-yard line, inch line, then they messed up. They ran a touchdown.
Who was the comp when you played physically for Gronk? Because Tony Gonzalez is a huge, tall, skinny, long guy. Who was the Gronk?
I'm not going to give him the skinny part. I mean, he was a pretty thick guy. He just wasn't. I mean, he was 240.
Long, though.
Right.
Now, he looked skinny on TV, not skinny.
Yeah, he
long.
wasn't skinny at all.
Yes.
He was more an athletic guy. I don't know if there's any comps that I played against. I mean, I don't know if there is another Gronk, to be honest. Because when he came in the league, he kind of took the league by storm with his size, his athleticism, his speed. That's why he's special. And I think whenever you're looking at a Hall of Famer, that word special has to come out of your mouth every time when you're explaining what he did and how he played, and in the big moments, which are naturally playoffs and Super Bowl. So, and he played in, I think he's got 4 rings.
He's got 4.
Got 4. I know he played in 3. I think he was injured in the one against the Giants. He did not play. I could be wrong, so just chat us up if I am wrong on that. But yeah, he was a. I don't know. Gonzalez, Gates and Shannon Sharp probably were the king of the hill when I was playing, and Wesley Walls, and there were some other guys that were pretty good. And that was on the NFC side, but I don't think anybody comps. I really nobody to me in league history fills that kind of void. And you know what I was hearing too? I don't know if this is true or not, that And this was when he first came in the league, that Floyd, when he was there, the late great Floyd Reese, the GM, didn't really want Gronk because of his injury history.
Oh.
No, because he had back surgery. His senior, I think he missed portions of his senior year or whatever his last year was. He might have came out early as a junior. And that guess who was on staff wanted him. I may have to go check the record. I never did check what they told me. Yep. Oh, Mr. JR. And he was the one that convinced Big Bill. And yep, so then we see the history and the pattern. I don't know if that's true or not, but that sounds like that's believable because this guy had back surgery, but he was such a phenomenal talent. We'll roll the dice because he went second round, by the way.
Yeah.
And Bill was like all in.
Gronk only played 16 games, and now it's 17.
In his career in college.
In his career, he played 16 games 3 times. His first 2 years.
Oh, in the pros.
And then the year that he came back with the Bucks, he played in all 16 games.
He had another back surgery. Then I remember he broke his forearm, and he did something to his elbow.
Do you remember he broke his forearm, and then he came back and he was playing, and he got hit out of bounds and put his arm down and broke it again?
Yeah.
At that point,
I know everything all about that.
Do you remember though he came back?
Yeah,
and I want to say he got knocked out of bounds like guys do.
His arm down.
And when he put his arm down, you could see it.
Yeah. Well, he had that robo deal on.
Yeah. And he broke his arm again. At that point, I thought maybe he's done. Well, he wasn't done.
Oh, no, I never thought he was going to be done with no broken forearm.
Ooh, when he broke it a second time, that was so weird.
Oh,
that was hard to watch.
Well, I'm sure everybody thought like you did, but being that I broke my forearm, nah.
You thought, I'll just put some plates in that thing. He'll keep on going.
Yeah, that, or they had machines where you could put these lasers on there, which is exactly what I did after my season playing with after getting it fixed and still wasn't quite healed yet. I'm sure I refractured it to a certain extent, and you can kind of heal your bones that way. But his was a lot more extensive than that because he had to wear that thing for a good 3 years because he re-injured it, as you mentioned. So, but he was. I don't think they're in his prime. I just don't really feel like the total package he had it at a different level. And I know I'd love for anybody to call in that can think of a tight end that was like Gronk. I don't.
And the key, as you said it, total package. Yeah. Not just a great pass catcher. And like you said, when he was young, he was fast. He stretched the field.
Oh, yeah, he did. He was running by a guy. I was like, oh, man, this guy, that'd be a lot for me to handle. And my specialty was I was guarding tight ends. So
6'6", 265.
Yeah, that would have been some trouble. Me and him, yeah. And he's kind of that goofy guy.
Yep.
So I wonder, like Shannon and Gonzalez didn't say very much at all, but Shannon Sharp was a talker. So I wonder what he is like in a game. I don't think he's a talker, but I think he'll give you a little jazzy something, or say something goofy in a game, maybe after he does something.
Could Shannon Sharp have been a receiver?
No.
No?
No, not to me.
Okay.
But, a lot of people would say he was, but because he was more of a receiving tight end.
Right.
He was just a bigger version of his brother, who I think should be a Hall of Fame player, too, as well. So, nah, I don't think so.
I've heard like NFL, like not played in the league guys, but covered the league guys say, oh, with his skill set, he could have also played.
Well, I think it was how he was utilized. And the reason why I say that, only from my perspective, is I was guarding him, and I wasn't a corner, and he was getting split out. And I was going one-on-one. So, no, I didn't feel like this guy is going to run by me. I mean, he was fast and all those things, but I didn't feel like, man, this is like guarding Marvin Harrison.
Right.
No, I didn't feel like that. Or Reggie Wayne.
6'2",
no.
228.
Holt, no. Bruce, no.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't feel like he was now he could have been a possession starting wide receiver. Yes, to your point.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought he could be a possession receiver. But that's what made him great at tight end. He was an elite runner and athlete at tight end. Wide receiver, he would have been just a good, solid possession type receiver. And he would have broke some tackles because he was well built.
He was almost 40 pounds lighter than Gronk and 4 inches shorter.
Yeah,
like that shows you how unique Gronk.
He was. That's what I said.
Because we're talking about these other guys. Shannon Sharp was 6'2", 228. Yeah. Like Gronk was a complete other physical being than him.
He was kind of converted. He was that tweener when he was in college. I think he went to like Savannah State or somewhere like that. If I can recall, wasn't a big school, but yeah, only Gonzalez. But Gonzalez was more pass catcher. He wasn't like Gronk, where he was getting his nose dirty in the run game, and his game was different. What I can say is Gonzalez was more finesse, and I keep bringing up Gonzalez because I'm thinking about the best tight ends in history, and at least at this point, we not counting Kittles and Kelsey as you mentioned the other day, which would be formidable to see. He kind of crosses over in both of those. He was more finesse. Gronk was power and finesse. See, I think that man, he may not have the numbers to be the best, but he could go down as the best. Just think how many games you just mentioned, how many he missed.
Mm-hmm.
And he's still in the top 3 probably of all time. So that I would say I would elevate him a little bit more just because I go, man, if he was healthy, his numbers would be even bigger. He would have the best numbers.
You've mentioned Wesley Walls 2 days in a row, and I'm sure there are people who remember him.
I don't know his numbers or anything.
You know how many Pro Bowls Wesley Walls made?
Probably about as many as I did 4.
He made 5.
Oh.
Which is the same number I think that Gronk made.
Oh.
Now, he used in a different era.
Uh-huh.
Tight ends didn't catch as much as they do now. He had 450 receptions, which was a lot for tight ends. He retired in 2003. That dude, he made 5. He missed a full year. He played his first 2 years in San Francisco, and he had 11 catches over 3 years. Then he missed a season. Then he had no catches in 6 games. The guy's career essentially didn't start till he was 28 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And then he went on a tear from there.
Yeah, he did.
And played until he was 37.
Came out of nowhere, yeah. Yeah, does it say where he went to college? I don't even know where.
I think he went to Ole Miss. He went to Ole Miss because
okay.
I remembered him. He's from Batesville, Mississippi. I remembered him being from Ole Miss.
Underrated.
Yep.
What does like Antonio Gates numbers look like?
Oh gosh,
like he's a guy up there, and then Kelsey and Kittles. I think Kittles is more refined in that he also blocks. People don't understand how nasty of a blocker he is. Now his body isn't as big as Gronk, but he is just as big of a threat as a receiver, him and Kelsey, as anybody that's played in this league.
Gates had 11,841 career receiving yards, 116 career touchdowns.
See?
And his career spanned from 03 to 2018.
Converted basketball player, didn't even play college football. He was a big time.
His second year in the league, he was 81 for 964. His second year, without even understanding football, that's 81 for 964. Then he was 89 for 1101. Then he was anywhere from 700 to 1,000, which are all fantastic numbers for tight ends. He did that.
Oh, somebody just brought something up on the chat. I think this guy's super underrated. Patrick Wilson, Jeremy Shockey. Mm-hmm. I got to play against him. Nobody will put him. I don't even think he's going to even get in conversation for Hall of Fame. Probably, in my mind, one of the top tight ends that I faced. Like, he had the athleticism, and one thing was different about him. It wasn't about him being finesse or was he physical. He had both of those. He could do both, but he was, I'm going to give it, a dog. He was mean out there.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa, I'm going to have to get this guy some business. Yeah, Jeremy Shockey was no joke. Yeah, he was legit. And I don't even know what his numbers are because he kind of just ended abruptly. But Jeremy Shockey from the U, right? He went to the U.
Oh, yeah, he was a U guy.
He was really good. I mean, I had no idea until I faced him, and I'm like, oh, this guy's, and that's when he was young and I was older in my career, but he definitely gave me a handful. No doubt about it. I like that pick there.
6'5", 251.
Didn't face Witten, naturally. Witten's up there.
Yep.
I don't think.
Witten's up there, too. You mentioned him yesterday when we were just naming guys. You mentioned Witten. He just played so long.
Right.
And was so consistent for so long.
So Leo just called in to let us know he went to high school with Wesley Walls in Batesville, Mississippi.
Yeah.
And he has just texted Wesley saying they're talking about you on the radio here in Nashville. He said, what in the world are they talking about me for?
Tell that rascal to call in.
Tell him, Blaine Bishop's giving him his props.
Yes.
Yep. Just do.
Yeah.
I don't know about Adrian Crumpler. Oh, Mark Bavaro. I was in middle school, Mark Bavaro.
Yeah. He said Mark Mavro, but Bavaro. All right. We can talk tight ends all day, but we need to talk to David Boclair. He's going to join us next. We'll wrap up the Titans season and more. That's coming up. Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. David Boclair said to join us. We got something to give away. Is that right now, Lucas? Yep. I hope that's the thumb that you're holding up at me. It's Winning Wednesday with 104.5 The Zone, the Nashville Sounds. Ooh, I like it. Be caller number 5 now for a chance to win a pair of tickets to the Window Nation ticket window to see your Nashville Sounds take on the Gwinnett Stripers tonight at 7:05 p.m. Last year, I took my son to see the Sounds and the Stripers first baseman came and handed my son a baseball. That's minor league baseball, man. You can have the best experience. I heard Lucas talking about earlier today.
Gwinnett, right?
You can have, the Stripers. They got cool uniforms. Sounds are cool. The game is cool. You can have whatever experience you want to have out there.
I ran into you last time I was at a Sounds game.
I know you did. And my son was there, and he was doing what he does, having a good time with this team. 615-737-1045. That'll get you caller number 5. All right. I was making sure I wasn't missing any more giveaways here. We're making everything happen for everybody. Let's get David Boclair in now. David, we were talking about, and we'll get into Titans stuff. I said we'll wrap up the Titans season next with you, but I meant the Titans offseason because it is the offseason season in the NFL. We were talking about Rob Gronkowski. I think we're all convinced maybe he'll come back midway through the season if Tom Brady calls him, but where do you put him in the tight end pantheon of tight ends?
Yeah, it doesn't feel like this guy's ever really retired, does it? And certainly not as long as Brady's playing. If Tom calls him, he'll come. But he's what, top 5 probably. It's so hard like to compare him to a John Mackey or a Mike Ditka or something. It's almost like you have to have a dividing line for tight ends between the days when they kind of did it all versus this era of specialization now. But I think guys like Tony Gonzalez and Shannon Sharp are probably still a cut above him in a lot of ways. But he's certainly a guy that you could count on to deliver big plays. He's a great red zone target, a guy that there's a reason Tom Brady likes to have him around, right? And it's talked him out of retirement once. I mean, he's a guy that he's got that old school mentality, I think, which made him a lot of fun to watch too.
Yeah, he was definitely always a fun guy to watch and probably will be when somebody gets hurt and he comes back midseason and tries to win him another ring. All right, Big Jeff is nowhere near retirement. He's trying to do something else. He's trying to cash in. I did want to ask you this. After he explained his team and his uncle, were you more confused or less confused? Because I got to tell you, that was like a riddle that he got into with his team.
Yeah, that was one of the odder press conferences we've had in a while. I'll say, number one, first off, I give Jeff credit for coming out there and doing it, and it wasn't that the PR staff was even dragging him out there. In fact, he came out 10 minutes before he actually started. He was ready to go and do it. And he had to know the questions were coming, and I guess we can argue whether he was prepared to answer them or not. Either he purposely created such confusion that none of us know what to make of this, or he just wasn't.
You gonna give him credit for that?
Yeah. Or he just wasn't prepared enough and didn't know how to answer them. It was odd. The thought that struck me, and I wrote this last week. If anybody has seen it was one of the first season of 30 for 30 documentaries on Marcus Dupree, right, the running back who got off to such a spectacular start in his career at Oklahoma. In the part of that documentary where they were talking about his recruitment, and Texas and Oklahoma were hot after him, but his uncle Curly was a big factor in his life and a big influence, and really wanted him to go to Southern Miss. And the documentarian asks former Texas coach Fred Akers at one point, "Did you ever meet Uncle Curly?" And Fred Akers sort of smiled wistfully and goes, "There's always an uncle, isn't there?" and that is that is exactly what I thought when Jeff Simmons started talking about Jason Hatcher, his uncle who played 10 years in the league, most of them with the Dallas Cowboys. He has talked about Jason Hatcher often during his career, but it's always been as a guy that I can go to if if something comes up in the league, I can ask him how he handled it or this or that. This is the first time I'd heard him talk about Jason Hatcher as somebody who's really sort of guiding his career and sort of the one person he is listening to above all else, and that includes his coaches and John Robinson and everybody else right now. And I think we all know that involving family in your business can be a really, really sticky affair, and that that was the part that I came away from it kind of most focused on, because I thought, you're always better served having somebody who's not emotionally tied to you. And I'm talking, sort of a traditional agent, somebody who can see the big picture, somebody who won't take things personally in negotiations. And so that's the part that concerns me if I'm the Titans in terms of where this thing is heading right now.
David Boclair, our guest. I heard you tell that story. Believe in Titans podcast. You can catch David's work there. He's also the publisher, producer of all the Titans work for Sports Illustrated, then SI.com. He is at Boclair Sports. David Boclair.
Well, Bokey, just on that same Big Jeff note, I mean, would you sign him to a long-term deal? Because, in all honesty, the Titans really have all the leverage here. They don't have to do anything. I think it's good that they are, actually having conversations, and I would personally. But what are your thoughts? Do you think they should sign him to a new contract sooner than later?
Yeah, I would, just because guys like him don't come along all that often, right? We see what kind of effect Aaron Donald has had in Los Angeles. We don't have to think back too far here in Nashville to think of 2007, 2008, when Albert Haynesworth was destroying opponents' offensive lines and their schemes. And 2008, 3 of the 4 members of the starting secondary ended up in the Pro Bowl, and that was largely because of the chaos that Haynesworth created up front. So I think it would be unprecedented, I guess, in John Robinson's tenure to give a new deal to a guy who has 2 years remaining on his current contract. But if you're going to do it, this is the guy you're going to do it with. And I sort of get it from Jeffrey Simmons' perspective too, why he has taken the approach he did this offseason and particularly last week during the mini camp with his hold in, if you will. This is a guy who understands acutely what kind of money can be lost in one particular moment. You go back to him getting hurt in a pre-draft workout, tearing his knee up. By all accounts, Titans had no chance to get him at number 19 until he hurts himself in that pre-draft workout and he falls down the board. Most people said he's probably a top 5 overall talent. Well, if you look, Jeffrey Simmons signed a 4-year, $12.6 million contract that was fully guaranteed. If he plays the 5th-year option in 2023, that's another $10 million. Jeff's not hurting, right? He's doing just fine. But you go to that same draft, 5th overall was Devon White to Tampa Bay. His contract was 4 years, $29.3 million, fully guaranteed. So, assuming Jeffrey Simmons, a healthy Jeffrey Simmons at that time would have been drafted somewhere around 5, you can say he has lost $15 to $20 million over the course of the first 4 years of his NFL career, based on that knee injury that he sustained in February of 2019. So his unwillingness to be on the field this offseason while these talks are going on makes sense to me. It's sort of like, look, you just pay me now, and then I'll get out on the field and I'll give you everything I have and go from there. So I assume nothing's going to happen until the start of training camp. That typically is when John Robinson likes to get these deals done. So, Jeff has said he plans to be there, but if the contract isn't done by then, we'll see if he's actually there.
Where do you think the range per year should be at for Big Jeff? Seeming as though the Titans, if they are negotiating with him, that to me they should get a hometown discount. So what do you think that? I think so. I mean, we don't have to do anything for like 2 or 3 years if they really don't want to.
I think and I think the big thing is too. Do you tear up the 5th year of that deal and save yourself some cap money in that one, and say that whatever extension is, it starts next year as opposed to 2024. I think I would think he probably is looking at somewhere. He's looking at Aaron Donald's deal, obviously. He's probably looking at A.J. Brown's deal too, and saying, I want to be probably somewhere between those two guys. I would think he's probably looking at an average of $20 million as sort of the floor of this deal, and if he when you talk about the best defensive lineman in the league, it's sort of Aaron Donald and Jeffrey Simmons. 1-2 is pretty much it right now, and everybody else is somewhere behind them. So I think it makes sense for him to sort of look at Aaron Donald and say, okay, you don't have to pay me much or that same amount, but you have to get me in that neighborhood because that's where I am as a player.
Well, with David Boclair with SI.com. I guess one more for me real quick, and that is Bud Dupree, kind of under the radar, but does he look like he's fully healthy, and what are the expectations going into the season? At least 10 sacks, right?
Yeah, that's funny. I would think that that has to be a number that everybody would be comfortable with. I was watching Bud at one point last week, and more so than how he was moving, because I guess there was nothing that attracted my attention in the way he was moving, which was probably a good thing. It suggests he's as healthy as we all think he would be now, more than a year and a half removed from reconstructive knee surgery. But he was really, really vocal in terms of pre-snap stuff and the communication with other linebackers and the defensive linemen. I don't remember him being that way last year, and I would assume it's a product of A, more time spent in the system, and B, the fact that you're not worried about your knee and you're not worried about anything else physically that way. You're freed up to sort of just see what's going on, and I thought from where I stood, I thought that was probably a really positive sign from Bud Dupree for people who are wanting to hear good news about him going into this year.
No doubt about it. We're with David Boclair, publisher and producer for the SI.com.
David, how concerned are you with the Titans wide receiver room and the depth therein?
If I'm Ryan Tannehill, or if I'm Todd Downing, or if I'm Mike Vrabel or John Robinson, I'm terrified of it right now. And it's not it's not that there's just so much unproven depth too. You don't even know how the top shakes out, right? Is Robert Woods healthy enough to be a number one guy? Has Treylon Burks been able to do enough that he can step in and be an every down player right from the start of the season? Or is Nick Westbrook-Akina going to be the guy who's on the field for 65, 70 snaps simply because he's healthy and he knows what he's doing, and you're kind of working around everybody else behind him from there, and then you've got the collection of Des Fitzpatrick and Racey McMath and Cody Hollister and Mason Kinsey, guys who have been here but haven't exactly produced. What can you count on from them? And is Josh Malone going to resurrect his career here? It seems like there is nothing but question marks with that group, and outside of Westbrook-Akina, there's nobody that Ryan Tannehill has a relationship with and a trust in right now. It really screams to me of a group that needs another veteran addition at some point before the start of training camp, just to give something else to that room. Not that that's going to fix anything. To me, the guy who's the key to the whole thing is Des Fitzpatrick, right? I mean, you drafted him in the 4th round last year. You traded up 17 spots to get him. You really wanted him. If he is where he is supposed to be at this point, based on your expectations in that moment you drafted him, things would look a lot different right now. And you'd feel like, okay, Fitzpatrick is going to step in. He's gonna be the guy who's going to make everything else go until Robert Woods is fully healthy, until Treylon Burks settles in, and so on and so forth. But I don't think we've seen any indication that Fitzpatrick is ready to be that guy. So it's going to be a crapshoot the first few weeks of the season, at least.
Feel any better about the offensive line room? A couple of open spots there.
You feel okay about the offensive line, but is it as good as it was last year? I think absolutely not. Anybody you put in there, whether it's Jamarco Jones, whether it's Aaron Brewer, or even possibly Dylan Radin, are they going to be an upgrade from Roger Saffold? No, they're not. You're going to be on your fourth different starting right tackle in 4 years, and that seems to be trending in the wrong direction, right? Like Dennis Kelly was not as good a right tackle as Jack Conklin. David Quesenberry was not as good a right tackle as Dennis Kelly. And now how do you feel about Dylan Radin, assuming he's the guy, based on what you saw last year? Is he going to be better than Quesenberry was at the start? Probably not. Maybe by the end of the season. Ben Jones is a year older. Taylor Lewan's a year older. Both those guys battled through some stuff last year. The chances of them staying fully healthy and playing 17 games each seems pretty slim to me. So that's a unit that doesn't look as good to me, and they gave up a lot of sacks last year. They've got a running back who's coming off an injury who's probably going to need maybe a little more help from the offensive line early in the year than he might get. So yeah, I don't feel particularly good about that unit either.
David Boclair, our guest.
Yeah, quickly, David Bokey, and that is, give us your bold prediction on record.
To me, this team looks like it's going to have to take a step back this year, unless it can win a bunch of really low-scoring games early. But to me, it feels like a 9-8 team that is, depending on how things shake out, maybe that last game, you're hoping there's still playoff possibilities and you can squeeze in and probably will be a better team at the end of the season. Then if that's the case, they'll be a better team late in the season than they were early. So maybe you can do something like you did in 2019. But that's what it feels like to me. I mean, the good thing is you still have Houston and Jacksonville twice, although I think one of those teams, I don't know which one, it feels like one of them is going to get up to the 6, 7, 8 win range to me this year. But you've got to win those 4 games and then see what happens with the rest of your schedule.
David, fantastic stuff, man. Thank you. People can always, again, catch your work at Boclair Sports, SI.com. And like I said, Believe in Titans podcast as well. Listen to the latest edition this morning, sir.
I appreciate that, Mickey. Yeah, thank you, guys. Have a great day.
Yes, sir. He brought up an interesting point. Titans over-under win total is 9.5. I know we talked about this. You think they're going to top that? He's going under. You going over or under? We'll talk about that. Also, I think we got another giveaway when we come back. So stick around. You can win something, too. It's Blaine and Mickey. Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. We have done something. We've hit a milestone. You got hit it. That's the BB. B and S, the Blaine Bishop breaking news sounder.
I did that too.
I don't know. I don't want to hit the actual breaking news sounder because yours is so much better.
Oh no, you because you don't.
Can
know
we
if mine's
just
really
sample Blaine
news.
doing that, and that way it could just take the place of the other one?
I can't believe you haven't recorded this yet.
Yeah, I will make it a drop based on what you just did there.
All right,
from our crack research staff, Rhett Bry.
I'll get to. I know I saw it on Twitter as soon as Rhett came in. So the city of Nashville has hit a milestone that we have not seen in years. I will share that, but I'll share this first. 104.5 The Zone and Big Machine Racing teaming up to give one lucky winner an ultimate NASCAR VIP experience with Big Machine Racing. Chance to meet Tyler Reddick, who drives the number 48 Spiked Cooler Chevrolet. Here's your chance. Be caller 5 now. Chance to win a pair of tickets to both the Rackley Roofing 200 and the Tennessee Lottery 250. Plus, qualify to win a Tennessee Lottery 250 VIP experience that includes garage, pit, and hauler tour. Walk the starting grid pre-race. Experience the race from pit road. Tickets for the race weekend are going fast, so call 866-RACE-TICKS or visit NashvilleSuperspeedway.com to get your tickets, or be caller 5 now at 615-737-1045. That'll give you your chance to win. Here you go. You've already had the news sounder.
Yeah, you got it.
From Nashville Severe Weather on Twitter, at NashSevereWX. It is 100 at 1:46 p.m. at B&A at the airport. Our almost 10-year sub-hundo streak has snapped. The last time it was 100 degrees was July 8th, 2012. That is hard to believe.
2012.
It has been that long since it's been 100. Somebody told me this the other day, and I know Brent sent us a message while we were on the air and said, no, it's been a long time. He told me the date.
2012. Yeah, he did.
He said the date. I would have thought 3 years ago at training camp it was 105 days in a row. Apparently it was not. Heat index, I guess, but not the actual temperature.
Yeah, that's where I would get confused. Heat index, yeah.
Because I would have bet you any amount of money. If somebody had said 1 day of 100 degrees for all the money you have between July 8th, 2012 and now, I would have said, I'll take that bet because I know we've had 100 of those days or 20 or 50. We had none until today.
Would you have bet that same kind of money on over-under on 9 wins by the Titans?
I would have last year, and I would have the year before.
Yep, I did.
I would have taken the over. I would have taken the under the last, over the last 3 years.
Yeah, I think I predicted 10, so I was a little sharp on both of mine.
But that was the over
10
though.
and 11 was the other one I voted. But this year it's 9.
I think they've been 8.5 or 9.5 each of the last 3 years, and every year I know you have picked the over, and so have I. It's 9.5.
Bocey just made me nervous.
Bocey said 9 without even thinking about it.
Yeah,
David Boclair, who was just our guest.
But because of the offense of receivers not really knowing what you're getting besides NWI. I mean, and Woods has looked great, but we all know when the season starts, it's a little different ball game. In training camp, once people start hitting you and everything else on the knee, so we'll see where he's at then. And then we know Burks we don't know what to expect out of him. And then the guys that they've drafted over the last couple of seasons, are they ready to step up to the plate and hold the fort and then show some glimpses of, I'm a starter in this league, at least a part-time starter. And I think he feels very uncomfortable, and I do too. And so that then makes me think, if you're playing any quality team that has a good balanced defense, they're going to sell the fort to stop the run.
I would.
And then they're going to go one-on-one on the receivers because nobody is like a killer threat. Nobody makes you nervous. No, your hair on your arms don't go stand up like, hey, man, we need to double this guy. This guy's going to get some issues. Yeah, and there's nobody like that. Now, maybe they can at times beat one-on-ones because this league is built on, the passing game and the receivers getting all the advantages and everything else. But when you're talking about doing that on a continuous basis – early in the season and think about this now, we can talk about the defense and and how good they are or potentially how good they could be. But if you're going to ride and think that the defense is we're going to win some 14-13 or 14-10 games, man, I'd beg to differ. I would not believe that. And I think we're actually putting the defense in a tough spot here and thinking that they're just going to shut people out. I think in this day and age, defenses aren't really shutting teams out. They're causing turnovers and making plays that way and shortening the field for your offense, especially the way this defense is set up. But you still have young secondary guys who have to grow at the corner spot. The safety can only do so much. So, yeah, I'm getting a little nervous about the way this team is built. It's making me think. I thought they had one more year of the window, and I've been saying it and hitting around to it. You really closed the deal for me when you gave me the 66% of the offense.
Of the targets are gone now?
Yeah. His weapons is gone. Now, I like the tight end additions from draft and free agency, but here's what I'll say about being a tight end in this league, and they don't have one, and that is they are chain movers, not game wreckers and game changers.
Yeah.
See, and that's a difference. There's no, as we mentioned, there's no Gronk. There's no Shannon Sharp. There's no, what's the kid with the Falcons that went from Florida? Yeah, there's no guy like that on their team. There's no Graham. There's no guy you could say, hey, man, this guy can take it to distance. So that concerns me. Now, that may be what they want because they want to be a methodical, slow it down, dribble the ball up the court. We're going to, shoot at the 24th hour.
After three passes.
And to me, you're asking for trouble when you do that. And I've been on teams like that because you could be dominating the game and still only be up by 3 because you're playing slow play. And one bad play, whether it's on offense or defense, and then next thing you know, you're either right in the game in a battle or you're losing. And you feel like, how did this happen? We've been dominating this game. So, Tannehill's going to have to really play, I'm going to say this, the best he's ever played in a Titan uniform with new additions. And everybody's watching him, and everybody's like, oh, it doesn't matter in regular season. It does matter in the regular seasons because he has a new group. He has a different group at receiver, tight ends, and even on the offensive line. So this offense, I'll be interested to see how they start the season off. And if they're going 3 and out, we can have the best defense all we want to. But 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, I've been there. Dude, get a first down. Because you get exhausted in that wear and tear. Guess when it starts hitting you? Middle of the third quarter, fourth quarter. And then you start slowing down. They start wearing you down because you're playing more plays. Next thing you know, you've played 80 plays. They've played 45. And you go in there and watch film the next day, and you're like, hey, man, where y'all going? Oh, well, we're done watching film. Ha, 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 that's funny. We're only halfway through. So too many games like that in a row, that it takes its toll. So I think I've been saying they need to sign a veteran guy. I don't know where they think they are with their young receivers outside of Burks. I'm talking about guys that were already on the team, but they must believe in them a lot because right now, any team that's got a solid defense, like if you're the coach, even the Jaguars have a solid defense. You're like, hey man, ain't nothing scaring us but that dude in the back there with that hair, the king. We're gonna do everything we can to stop him.
Let's get to hour number 2 of the show. Jordan Dajani set to join us at around 2:20, and headlines next right here on Blaine and Mickey.
It is 2:03. Good afternoon. I'm Lucas Panzika. NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell spent some time testifying in front of Congress earlier today as a part of the investigation into the Washington Commanders' workplace culture. Goodell fielded questions about Deflategate, about Dave Portnoy, and a little bit about the Washington investigation. Representative Carolyn Maloney, the chairwoman of the House Oversight Committee, announced today that she is issuing a subpoena to compel testimony by Commanders owner Daniel Snyder in a deposition next week. Snyder had previously refused to testify. College World Series going on in Omaha as Oklahoma currently leads Texas A&M 4-0. 3 out of the 4 teams left in the field are out of the SEC. Double elimination action happening right now. Later on, Arkansas faces Ole Miss at 6 p.m. And Stanley Cup Finals, Game 4 is tonight in Tampa Bay. The Lightning looking to even the series at 2-2 against the Colorado Avalanche. Puck drop at 7 p.m. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once in your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. It's halfway through the Hump Day show. You know what that means. You're at the nexus of the sports talk universe. You're halfway through.
I feel like that's like when you say gelatinous muck.
Gelatinous muck.
Gelatinous, yeah. That sounds the same thing to me. You said the nexus in the middle of the... I feel like that's the same thing.
Gelatinous muck is, if you're new to the show, it's the colored...
what we had yesterday.
Yes. So we were at Puckett's, and they brought us cherry cobbler.
Ooh, it was so good.
I like the crust, and I like the red liquid-ish thing. That I don't like cooked cherries. I don't want those. I like the gelatinous muck that they live in.
The goo.
Yeah, I like the goo. Like blueberry anything. I don't want cooked blueberries, but I don't mind the blue goo. Wow. Peach, I can sometimes eat like peach cobbler. Mm-hmm. Mostly I just like the goo and the crust. The one cooked fruit that I can eat is apples, like apple pie, apple anything. I can eat cooked apples. They taste fine to me.
No, that is not true. You can eat cooked fruit on your pizza.
Oh, you're talking about pineapple pizza? I will eat pineapple on my pizza. You may have people hating me now. People hate people who do that.
I thought I liked it. I tried it, and I was just like, when I warm it back up, I'm a good, 3 hours later the next morning warm it up. And
I know. You heat your meat.
It's not that good.
Before you eat.
So then I don't want it on there. I picked it off. So it was cool when it was fresh, but after that, no. But yeah, why do you like the muck so much? Like
I don't know.
Is good, but I never thought about it that way.
Honestly,
without the fruit, without the actual fruit.
I'll tell you why I think it's because it's just all sugar.
Oh. It's
just like artificial color and sugar, which are things that I love. I love all things that are terrible. Like everything you can get in the gas station, except the hot food, which you eat. Bro. You eat like the churros and the crunchy things and the things off the weenie wheel of death. And like Blaine will go into a gas station and eat hot food. Now, if they have a little old lady in the back who's like frying chicken, I'll eat the chicken.
I was going to say, I bet there's some good gas station food in Arkansas.
No. If people are making the food.
That's crazy. I know you were at gas stations in Arkansas.
If it doubles as a restaurant, which many of them do, I'll eat that food.
You're talking about like the spinning hot dogs.
Yes, that are just out there all day that you could fend off a would-be attacker. That they probably have their own ecosystem living inside them.
Desperate times, desperate measure, but I don't have any problem with doing that.
But see, like I don't want a hot dog from a gas station.
Well, sometimes I just, I got to have a wiener.
Lonzo says, I'm going to change the subject. Lonzo in the Zone TV chat says pineapple on pizza is nastier than blueberry goo. Here's the kind of pizza that I'm stuck on right now. Lucas will eat anything. I heard him say it again today.
Well, he's a young
when he was
guy,
talking about
anything.
Sausage and pineapple. That's my go-to.
No.
I know it sounds disgusting. I was somewhere and I saw a kid order it, pizza by the slice. There's a little place in Franklin. And we used to take my son there after soccer games. And another kid was in there, and you just say, I have 2 slices. What do you want on them? Kid said pineapple and sausage. And I looked at that kid's parents. I'm like, this kid's going to win a Nobel Prize someday. This kid may be president. I think that's genius. My. And they thought, who's this crazy man talking to our son? But I got the same thing. If I get pizza, that's what I get.
But how old do you think this kid was?
Like 8.
Oh, I respect that. I respect that. Because most 8-year-old kids, it's like chicken nuggets and cheese pizza.
Right.
My man just nailed it. That was his choice.
Welcome by a guy doesn't have kids.
Yes.
That is very true. No doubt about it. Take me back to my kids' younger years.
What's
the worst thing on a pizza? What's the worst? I mean, I gotta say it's got to be pineapple there.
Wouldn't it be anchovies, fish?
I could even take that, but I have to have an acquired taste date.
See, that's a hard no for me.
Anchovies are better on pizza than they are by themselves.
Yeah,
because on pizza they're just little salt bombs and like a in a cheesy pizza.
Who looked at a pizza and thought, some tiny dead fish would really make this thing delicious?
Italians love their anchovies.
See? I blame Lucas's people.
Yeah, man. Gelatinous muck.
I love gelatinous muck. But again,
Did you make that on your farm?
No, we did not raise any gelatinous muck.
Okay.
I will tell you this, though. If you eat anything made out of rice, I farmed it. I can't tell you what a percentage of the rice that you would ever eat comes from Arkansas. It's a huge percentage.
Oh, man. Hey, man, y'all guys making a killing with me, man. I'm eating rice every other day.
I know. You told me. You ever eat Fruity Pebbles, Cocoa Pebbles?
Oh, well, yeah, growing up.
Those come straight from Jonesboro, Arkansas.
Oh,
I can drive you by the building where they make them.
They were going to say they came from the rice seed. I was like, what?
Well, no, they're rice. They come from rice, which comes from seed. Farmers sell rice directly to Post. They take it there and dump it there, and then it gets turned. It's hot off the presses, straight out of the field.
I love me some Fruity Pebbles. I love the cocoa pebbles.
Honey bunches of oats. They make those in Jonesboro.
Oh, I wouldn't.
When they make the strawberry ones, you can drive by there, and it smells like heaven.
I was a hurt the roof of your mouth Captain Crunch guy with berries.
Oh, I want all the Captain Crunch I can get, but I'm trying to be healthy because I come in and like I'll have a foot-long sandwich with all this stuff on it, and Blaine will have like a tiny thing of yogurt and a bag of unsalted almonds.
And I'm probably eating more than you because I have like 5 of them.
And then the next day I'll come in and I'll have like a giant Dr. Pepper and a hamburger, and Blaine will have like a shake made out of some kind of berries that I can't pronounce. It looks like poop. And so, and all I'm thinking is like, I'd love to have some gelatinous muck and crust. So I'm trying to be more like you diet-wise. So at least in the morning, I threw out all the Captain Crunch and stuff. I have like honey bunches of oats or Raisin Bran or oatmeal squares. Like cereal that on the box, it says, you're going to poop. Guaranteed.
Well, I'm trying not to do, I see your morning workouts when you're doing your nice trail walks. I'm trying to not do even that. So that's why I'm trying to eat well. But when it comes to evening time, that's all bets are off. After dinner, I'm a honey bun, cupcakes, you name it, I'm in it. Today, I cleaned out my pantry.
Okay, I knew you were going to do this to me. You're going to make Lonzo not like me, and I want to be liked by Lonzo. I'm losing respect for you, Mickey. LOL. Stop with your weird combos.
Yeah, that pineapple, man. I like pineapple by itself, man. And not on my pizza.
Trod999 says anchovies and Italian sausage is delish. See, you go eat pizza with Blaine. Blaine gets every meat they have. If they had turkey, like put that. Yeah, the Blaine Bishop Meat Lover Supreme. He is all meat.
Ooh, I like hot dogs and macaroni and cheese. I've had that. Oh, that's really good. Have you ever had that?
Hot dogs. I've had hot dogs everywhere. You can have hot dogs. Okay. I used to eat them straight out of the package as a kid.
Wait, stop. Stop. I know you're about to say uncooked.
Well, they're cooked in the package. No, they're just like bologna sticks at that point. No, they are not cooked. Yes, they're cooked.
They're not like raw meat, but they can still be cooked
They can be cooked and should be, but I would eat them straight out of the package. I was playing a Babe Ruth League baseball game once. We got off the bus. I'd been farming all day. I'd not eaten other than, the peanut butter sandwich I had in my paper bag, and I had a game. So we drive to Wynne, Arkansas to play this game, and I go straight to the concession stand, and I had my, $2 in my pocket or whatever. I said, I got to get a hot dog. The guy's like, it was like some guy and his mom working, and he goes, man, we hadn't even started the crock pot yet. And I was like, I'll just take one out of the package. And that dude started like, I said, just sell it to me. I'll eat it. He's like, I don't know if I can do that. I'm like, it's America. You can sell it to me. So he sold me the raw hot dog, and I ate it in front of him, and I thought he was going to die. But the crock pot full of weenie water? It's the same water all summer. It was probably safe for me to eat the thing right out of the bag.
Oh, my. Well, all right. Well, we'll go to break. Everybody call us for all the weirdest things that you eat raw.
Well, we can't do that. We'll have to save it. Jordan Dajani's next.
They can call, and we'll ask Jordan, too. You keep calling us.
Let's take JT's call first in Hendersonville. He wants to talk about pizza and muck. I can't wait to see where this goes. What's up, JT?
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call. I'm a long-time listener. and I'm glad I was able to plug back in today and catch you guys. And of course, you're talking about pineapple on your pizza, man. I love the Canadian bacon with pineapple.
Oh, I love it.
That's some good stuff. However, two things real quick. My son grew up. Now, he's a 15-year-old super stud baseball player that's been looked at by a lot of schools. He's going to play college ball somewhere. But he grew up, and his main diet until he was like 6 years old was hot dogs were right out of the package.
Oh, my God.
He never cooked them. Never cooked them.
Oh, my.
We go in there to get a hot dog and fix some hot dogs, and they're all gone because my son had wiped out the package, you know. And now my daughters, speaking of pizza, they only eat cheese pizza, until one of our local pizza places came out with the Stranger Things pizza.
Ooh, what is that? What's on that?
Well, it's a meat lovers is what it is, and they won't eat, and so they're wolfing down this, you know, Stranger Things pizza, talking about how awesome it is. I'm like, girls, it's meat lovers. It's a dang meat lovers pizza. What are you doing?
Yeah, they went for the name. They got them.
It's a fancy name.
And then finally, I used to always call during the holidays, Mickey, because you would always talk about the gelatinous goo.
Yes.
That was squash casserole, and we loved that in our house. And so now I've got something new, gelatinous muck that you actually like.
Yeah, colored muck.
The fruit stuff, colored muck. Yeah, that's good stuff.
Yeah, that's real healthy.
Guys.
Thank you, JT. Thank you.
Appreciate it, bud.
Yes, sir.
That's kept you in the shape that you are.
I mean, it's hard to maintain this, although I want to get back to 167 by training camp. Let's get one more phone call in on the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline. Jay from JT to Jay, who has, of all things, a hot dog comment. Hello, Jay.
Oh, man.
Hey, how you fellas doing today?
Good. How are you?
Good.
Doing well. Hey, just got a quick story. My girlfriend, when she was younger, she would be a babysitter down in Franklin. And one of the people, the families, would feed the kids raw hot dogs. The parents would say, I got dinner for them, and eat raw hot dogs sitting on top of the counter. And the kids would come by to eat them. She said.
Wow. How old was the kid, I wonder?
I don't know. I guess the kid's like 8 years old, 10 years old. It was like a family of them. They just sit there and walk past and grab a raw hot dog and eat all day. I was like, oh, my God.
Jay, thank you for the call, Jay.
I couldn't do it. I think I would gag and throw up.
My immune system is what it is because of eating those things, I'm sure. Although Broderick adds this, that I know we got to go to break because Jordan Dajani's coming up. Broderick says in the Zone TV chat, Mikey, which I assume is me, my mom is from Osceola, which is right down the road from where I'm from.
Uh-oh.
My mom is from Osceola. They ate raw hot dogs all the time. I guess why it's called meth country.
Oh!
Jordan Dajani coming up next.
But
Blaine and Mickey 104.5 The Zone. The Zone has teamed up with Big Machine Racing to give one lucky winner an ultimate NASCAR VIP experience with Big Machine Racing and the chance to meet Tyler Reddick, who drives the number 48 Spiked Cooler Chevrolet. The Tennessee Lottery 250 VIP experience includes garage, pit, and hauler tour. You can walk the starting grid pre-race. You can experience the race from pit road. Man, it's a fun experience. Tickets are going fast, so call 866-RACE-TICKS or visit NashvilleSuperspeedway.com. And also be sure to listen to this show, Blaine and Mickey, for your chance to win a pair of tickets and qualify for the ultimate NASCAR VIP experience courtesy of Big Machine Racing, right? You got to keep listening to Blaine and Mickey. If you keep listening long enough, you can hear Jordan Dajani each week, too.
Oh, no doubt about it. But, I guess in a somber note here, reported by my former teammate, because they were teammates in high school. Neil O'Donnell called me during the break, and I'm praying that it's not, but I know if it's coming from him and they were teammates in high school. Tony Siragusa has passed away. If anybody knows him, it's from his days with the Ravens, especially going against the Titans, as well as a broadcaster, too. I think he was only 55. Don't have any details on that, but Neil O'Donnell said it's fact because people have called him and told him. So our thoughts and prayers go out to, the Gusa family, and just kind of crazy, man. All these guys passing away at a young age. I mean, just in the last 3 days, different guys from different eras even. Young guys, 25 and 26. And then now Gusa, wow, what a heck of a player, but even a funnier guy when he became a broadcaster.
Sure was. He's one of those people Lucas's age would probably know him like, oh, I know that guy. He was great on football games. He was a great football player, too, before he was he was just a funny broadcaster. He did it in his own style, and they let him be himself. He'd stand in the end zone and watch the game and just talk about it, and had a nice run as a broadcaster and had a great run as a player. So hate to hear it, and absolutely rest in peace to a great one. Let's bring Jordan Dajani in. Our weekly visit. Jordan, this has been a crazy time in the NFL, and if you just heard what Blaine said about Tony Siragusa, gosh, this has been a rough couple of days for the Ravens organization for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. That makes me sad. That's definitely not how I want to start off a radio hit. And this whole summer, man, has just been incredibly depressing. With Dwayne Haskins, Jeff Gladney, Jalen Ferguson earlier today, and then Tony Siragusa. I'm not sure what's going on, but it really needs to stop, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, no doubt.
Let's switch to a happier note. Again, that just came out, and certainly people would know about him around here. Big Titans-Ravens rivalry over the years. But I do want to switch to a happier note, like my man Chris Odom basically being the MVP of the entire USFL. Arkansas State's own Chris Odom.
You threw a curveball. I didn't know where you were
100%.
going
No,
with that.
I mean, Jordan is following the USFL. He knows how good Chris Odom is. This is a guy who's played, I think, 11 NFL games, last played in 2019, but he may be one of the guys from the league that actually messes around and gets another shot.
Yeah, he may, and I appreciate you guys having me on as your USFL expert. I don't think I can say that, but I mean, I've been watching the league. I write a weekly gambling column on the game, so yeah, I've been trying to pay attention. And Chris Odom has definitely been one of those bright spots on the defensive side of the ball. I think there's been several players that have really stood out that are not quarterbacks, by the way, that maybe could get a little bit of a camp invite. I know the schedule doesn't exactly mesh well with this. Maybe more guys would get chances if the league ended, a month or two ago, so other teams can really review the tape and bring some guys in and use some of those roster spots just to get a better look at them. But, yeah, I'm really interested to see if any of these guys get some chances, because I really do think that there was talent on the field in the USFL, especially when it came to members of the front seven. Some of the defensive linemen, some of the linebackers I really enjoyed watching, and there's been a couple of receivers who have caught my eye as well. So, yeah, we're on to the Final Four. The playoffs start Saturday.
Well, they're going to finish the season, and that's that's a major victory in itself that they will play every one of the games they set out to play this year. So I watched a bunch of them. I know you did too. Jordan Dajani, our guest at Jordan Dajani, CBS Sports.
You're talking about the USFL. Well, we just had a great and all-time great, and I'd be interested to see where you think he fits in with his era, and that is the Gronkinator has said he's retired. First of all, do you believe that? And there's always a possibility when you're talking about Gronk. But I really want to know, where do you see him on the list of, let's just use his era, and I'm going to go down the list of guys here, 5 guys: Waller, Kittles, Kelsey, Andrews, Mark Ravens, and the kid from the Dolphins.
Mike Gesicki?
Gesicki. Where would you put him in against some of those guys? Would you got him at number 1, or is he top 3? Where do you see him?
I would put him number 1 out of all the guys you just listed. And, all the guys that you listed, their careers obviously aren't done just yet. They're going to have chances to build on their legacies. But, I mean, when it comes down to it, maybe Kelsey would be the one guy out of that list that we could put in the top 10 of all tight ends when it's said and done. As for Gronk, man, I mean, he had the second most quarterback tight end combo with Tom Brady, postseason touchdowns with 105. He had the third most touchdowns out of any NFL tight end ever, 5th most yards, 10th most receptions, I believe. He is undoubtedly top 3 in my opinion. And the other guys that really stand out to me in terms of all-time tight ends, and maybe there's a little bit of recency bias on my part with this, but Antonio Gates always really caught my eye. Tony Gonzalez was a model of consistency as well in terms of how versatile they were, and the versatility that the tight end position calls for, they were able to answer the call. So Gronk, in my mind, is probably a top 3 guy. But as you brought up, who knows if he's actually done? Because I think it's pretty interesting that his agent comes out, minutes after this news goes public and says, if Tom Brady calls him later this year or even in 2023, Gronk would probably come calling. So, I'm not sure how many people are actually sold that he's hung up the cleats for good.
Gronk is a top 3 tight end of all time, but a receiver said he was top 5 or 3, at least at this time, a frame in the NFL, and that's Chase Claypool. I mean, can you just name 5 receivers off the top of your head that you know that are better? I don't even know if he's top 3 at his conference, to be honest.
Maybe not the best on his own team.
Yeah.
Yeah, people be saying that. I mean, Devontae Adams, Deebo Samuel, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Cooper Kupp, Stephon Diggs, Tyreek Hill, Terry McLaurin, Chris Godwin, DeAndre Hopkins. And we could go on. But I got to say this. I mean, everybody realizes that Claypool is not a top 3 receiver in the NFL. Yeah, he's a very talented budding star in this league. I think most people would admit. But here's the thing. I appreciate the confidence. When you go on a podcast like that, you'd rather have a guy say, I'm top 3, top 5, as opposed to, I'm probably a top 40 wide receiver in the league right now, looking at building on that. So I really do appreciate the confidence. I think a lot of people are rooting for him. But, he made some pretty brazen claims on that podcast about the Steelers franchise and their win total and his stat projections. He's definitely a guy I would love to have on my team. I think he's a great talent. But, he probably has a little bit of work to do before he can claim he's a top 3 receiver in the NFL.
Couldn't he just say and still have the air of confidence? And that's what this is all about, really, with his comments, because potentially he could be there at some point in time, but just not right now. And that is, I see in a 5-year window that I could be one of the top, if not the top, wide receivers in the National Football League. And see how I just said that with that kind of tone? Why can't he do that? Then guess what? Now, a lot of people are not clicking on it and, it's not a big deal, but he's also speaking truth because it's real and that's what he believes, because that's what he believes in really what he's saying, because he has to know he's not a top 5 receiver now, but potentially he could be if he continues to put in the work. And now I get to know one of his 3 quarterbacks because that's always going to be a factor. Who's your quarterback?
Yeah, Blaine, I mean, do you talk for a living? Do you do radio for a living? Because that was very well worded, and that's exactly what he should have said on that podcast, no doubt about it.
Yeah, I think some of these guys kind of get a little loose in how they speak on these podcasts, which is all fun and good, but you can be loose, but at the same time, respecting the guys that you're competing with and understanding where you fit into that. And you don't have to say I'm a top 40 guy, but you can say, hey, man, I think in the next 3 to 5 years, I'm going to be one of those dudes. So, but, all of them talk in that manner. We're on with Jordan Dajani, NFL writer for CBS Sports, and kind of give us a backdrop. I don't know. I know you're not a lawyer, but so far what's going on in the Daniel Snyder, Roger Goodell, I guess, situation in his briefing there in the court of law today, which really didn't, at least what I've heard before we came on air, really was not about the Commanders at this point in time.
Man, it was a circus, and I don't even know if I can give you a Spark Notes version. I mean, at one point we were talking about PSI levels in footballs above sea level. Okay?
Yes.
That's how wild it was getting. But here's my Spark Notes. The Oversight Committee basically believes that Roger Goodell did not do enough when it comes to, fostering a good workplace in one of the 32 franchises that he oversees. And, at some level, he should be somewhat responsible for that or feel responsible for that. On the other hand, Goodell is arguing that, Dan Snyder has been held accountable. We gave him what he called unprecedented discipline with a massive fine of $10 million, and that Snyder is not making any decisions with the league anymore, and he's basically been offhand when it comes to the Washington franchise as well. I believe it's his wife that has taken over. So they're kind of arguing about punishment and if this is an ongoing saga, which is an interesting debate in itself. The other really big facet of this is that, of course, this whole thing stems from the investigation into the Washington football team workplace that concluded over a year ago. I don't remember how long. It might be 2 years ago at this point. I remember covering that investigation, and the real thing that came out of it was that there was no long written report about their findings. What was a big deal was that behind closed doors, there was basically somebody who headed up this investigation, gave a freshman college course, oral presentation to the decision makers, and there was nothing really written down about what they found. Now, I think what I gleaned from this hearing was that there is something like a 5 or 10 page kind of recap about what exactly they found. But the biggest thing that Goodell was harping on was that the NFL and Washington also want to keep the anonymity of some of the women that came forward. Not all of them, but apparently some of them wanted to remain anonymous. And they kind of argued about redacting those names in the reports, but at the same time, a lot of people would know exactly who those women were. So that was a really big issue when it came to the hearing today, is that the NFL doesn't want to release, their full findings. It seems like they are satisfied with how this entire saga went down. They feel like they handed out punishment, but of course the oversight committee feels differently.
We're on with Jordan Dajani, NFL writer for CBS Sports.
So our weekly discussion while we're in our legal briefs here, Deshaun Watson, 20 of 24 have settled. The Watson camp, I think it was Tom Pelissero, one of them had leaked. They think he's still going to get suspended for a whole year. I guess there was another leak. The NFL said they want to have the punishment meted out and then have the appeal and everything done by the start of training camp. Maybe we're getting close to a resolution.
I think we are getting closer to a resolution, and I love how you guys make me feel like a lawyer every time I come on the show.
Yes.
But, I want to say this, too. Deshaun Watson reportedly offered each plaintiff $100,000 each to settle their cases, but not all would accept due to an NDA. And this report comes from a long time ago, like 8 months.
Right.
And the reason for that NDA was actually because the Miami Dolphins, again, reportedly, were looking to trade for him, and they wanted that NDA. Tony Busby said that the NDAs killed that potential deal. And it's interesting, we saw all but 4 of these settled, as you mentioned, this week. And the terms and amounts of the settlements are confidential, although a lot of people believe that they will be leaked. It's funny because when the report that I'm referring to, whatever it was, 8 months ago, there were 4 women that refused to sign. And here we are today, Wednesday, June 22nd. And once again, we have 4 outstanding law cases or civil suits as well. So, yes, this is a step in the right direction for the NFL and Deshaun Watson, obviously. I think it gives the NFL a little bit more, I don't know, I don't want to say comfort, but a little bit more level of reason where they can come to a conclusion and hand down a suspension. So, yes, I do think that one is coming soon. And the other thing I want to say is that Deshaun Watson settling these cases is not going to affect the length of his suspension. This is something that's already been in discussion. It doesn't matter if these were settled or not. It really goes down into the NFL policy, the off-field policy when it comes to the personal conduct policy when it comes to what Deshaun Watson was accused of off the field.
Jordan Dajani, our guest. Do you think where would you set the odds? Let's do it this way, that Marcus Mariota gets beat out by Desmond Ridder. There's all these reports out of Atlanta about how good Ridder has looked.
1% chance. I really do think that, Marcus Mariota's – I mean, Arthur Smith has already said that Marcus Mariota is going to be the starter coming into this preseason.
Okay.
So he's really going to have to mess up if Desmond Ridder is going to start. And Desmond Ridder could have, the best camp of all time. But at the same time, that may not be enough for him to start over Marcus Mariota, a quarterback who knows Arthur Smith very well, who Arthur Smith likes a lot and sees a lot of potential in still. Any way you want to try to reason it, I believe the best course of action is to let Marcus Mariota take those first snaps under center. So, yeah, if Ritter's having a great camp, then more power to him. But the way I see it, he's not going to be starting week 1 unless an injury happens or something like that.
There you go. I was asking for all the Marcus stands out there in the market. Jordan Dajani, our guest from CBS Sports.
Well, Jordan, I know you like to have a lot of fun. We were talking about what foods you eat that are raw, and Mickey eats just pretty much everything that's raw. any weird foods that you do that a little surprising to most?
Well, I did kind of almost start that mayonnaise and coffee thing.
Yeah, I saw you were on that train.
By the way, I'm a little offended that Lucas didn't give me any credit for that, but it's okay. It's okay.
Welcome to our world, yeah.
Oh, it wasn't that bad? You tried it?
I did try it, and it wasn't good. It definitely was not good, but it was not bad. It made the coffee sweeter in a weird way, creamier in a weird way. It was not as gross as I thought it was going to be, but it's probably not something I'll ever try again. In terms of weird food, the only thing I eat raw that I can really think of is oysters and sushi. I'm a big sushi guy, so I love raw fish in that manner. One thing that I tried recently that I didn't expect to like so much is that I had a Nashville hot chicken pizza, and on that pizza, they put fried pickles on there as well.
Ooh.
I never knew that fried pickles and pizza would be a really good combination, but it was. Fried pickles on pizza is something that I'm going to be looking at moving forward.
No doubt about it. You heard it here first from Jordan Dajani. Lastly, little unfair, I know Fishbone with the USFL, he went 2-8, but the quarterback situation was messed up. I'd kind of break their, team down and what good players do they actually have that you think potentially have a shot at the National Football League?
Yeah, the Michigan Panthers. I mean, it's interesting. We could talk about this for hours because the USFL is so interesting because all the teams struggled with quarterback play.
Mm-hmm.
All the head coaches had to play GM basically and try to pick their teams. And I think Jeff Fisher didn't do an incredible job with that because he had the number 1 overall pick in the draft, and he took Shea Patterson out of Michigan. Shea Patterson was straight up released, I think 7 weeks into the year, which really hurt this team. But at the same time, yeah, the Panthers weren't one of the star teams, but there were some guys that I thought that caught my eye. I think one of the wide receivers, his name is Joe Walker, I believe. Yeah, Joe Walker, number 8 out of Delaware. He was impressive. They had another defensive lineman whose name is escaping me right now. I don't know if I can look it up. Oh, Kavon Walker out of Maryland. Yeah, I'm a big Terp guy. Kavon Walker was a pretty good player as well. It was obviously a really tough season, but we all know that Jeff Fisher's a really good coach. And I think it really comes down to, in this league, trying to get the right pieces in place. And obviously the most important piece is a quarterback. And that's something that Michigan really struggled with, which is why they finished out the year with a 2-8 record.
Yeah.
Jordan, great stuff, man. Anything big you want people to check out at cbssports.com on the way out?
Yeah, it's list season here in the offseason. CBS Sports is ranking every single position group. We're going to be doing coaches. I just did tight ends. We're doing backup quarterbacks, offensive linemen, wide receivers, all of that good stuff. It's officially list season, which means my email is full of hate mail. So definitely give those some clicks, some reads. Pretty interesting stuff as we hit the dog days of summer.
I love it. At Jordan Dajani on Twitter, and check out all those lists. Thank you, sir. We'll talk next week.
Appreciate you guys as always.
Yes, sir. Roger Goodell under fire today. What did he say about firing, essentially, Dan Snyder? We got that next. Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. It was a long day for Roger Goodell. He was getting grilled. A lot of you people don't like Roger Goodell. There's a bunch of people that don't like him that just took glee in the fact that he was getting grilled. They love the NFL, but they hate Roger Goodell. Gary Bettman I always thought was the most hated commissioner. And he would come to Nashville and not really get booed. And once he was here to talk about something with the Predators, I'll never forget him saying, I love Nashville because no one boos me here. He was so excited. I think Roger Goodell would get booed like if they called out his name for a reservation in a restaurant.
I mean, I feel like baseball fans hate Rob Manfred more than football fans hate Goodell, right? Like, booing Goodell is just fun. It's just what you do. But I feel like baseball fans have a deeply rooted hatred for Manfred.
The sad thing about baseball is, though, the people who really care about the game hate Manfred. I just think those people are dwindling in numbers to a sad state. And baseball continues to try to cater to people who don't care about the game. And I get it. You want people to watch. But it's sort of like NASCAR did, where they chased all these markets where nobody cared about racing. Well, where are they back to now? Nashville. Where are they coming back to? The places where people actually give a crap. Roger Goodell got asked by one particular rep, are you willing to do more to punish Snyder? Then they followed it up with this question. Will you remove him? Talking about Dan Snyder. And Goodell said, I don't have the authority to remove him, Congresswoman. So,
Congresswoman.
Yes, it was a lady who was asking him, Rashida Tlaib from Michigan, who asked him those questions. Do you guys know what it takes to get an owner out? I've looked this up before about Snyder because I thought, how in the world? Tyler Dial says, how do you call the championship trophy of your league just a hunk of metal? Rob Manfred is the worst commissioner in all sports. He is the worst by far. I don't think Goodell's a terrible commissioner. I mean, they're making billions. It's the biggest sports league in our country by all of the miles that you could put between it and the other leagues. It's people getting drafted, like big guys in suits gets better ratings than the other sports playoff games. Yeah. That's when you know we are stomping them.
Yeah, but it's really managing the owners too. I mean, that's a tougher job than most people think. I mean, just imagine him got to sit there, kind of manage Kraft, Jerry Jones. Oh my gosh, no way, man. I don't know if you can ever win. Like, I don't know. You gotta talk them into stuff. You gonna tell a billionaire what to do? Come on, man.
I don't think you are. I almost think it'd be like.
Gonna tell him.
I think it would be like if you were by the way, it takes 24 of 32 owners to vote out another owner. And when they found out he was skimming the money off the top, I thought
that was going to get him out.
Because you said, okay, he's stealing from the other billionaires. You can't take their money. Yeah. Here we are.
Yeah.
He's got his yacht parked in France, avoiding Congress. I mean, he's laughing in the face of Congress.
Sipping on gazpacho.
Meanwhile, isn't he trying to get a new stadium site or something?
Yes, he is.
That's not happening.
How about that?
Oh, isn't that in the nation's capital?
Yeah. Well, watch this. I'm about to get y'all. Is there another Haslam that can just buy that one? Another billionaire Haslam?
I think we're running out.
Oh, man.
He is. He will be subpoenaed. Snyder will be. I thought when
it's too much smoke. It's too many different threads of too many different things, man. I'm sorry. It's hard to count somebody out, but man, it's too much smoke.
The testimonies from former executives and employees of the franchise, like,
and he was trying to hide some stuff, and then he paid somebody $1.5.
It all follows the same thread.
Yeah, it can't just keep happening. It's the way he's running the organization. Can't have it in there. I can do is sell him that you're gonna make him a couple more billion. Like, man, sell it for this, and I already got somebody on the back floor here, man, ready to buy. You bought it for $800 million. We got somebody that's gonna buy it for $5 billion right now. More than that, probably 10.
They're worth more than that. Yeah,
because $5 billion was the Broncos or 4.
Little over 4, yeah.
Little 4, right. So, DC.
In that market,
so, 10 billion.
One of the oldest franchises there is.
You're just going to make a quick $10 billion.
Well, people always ask me, like, what gets a coach fired? What gets an administrator fired in the college world? And I always say, basically, it's like the board of trustees, who are the people who ultimately make all the decisions, if they get embarrassed enough, then they start calling the chancellor, the president, the athletic director, everything, all the poo runs downhill, right? Well, I just keep thinking, and usually it's this guy's done enough, this is enough losing, this is enough embarrassing things that he said. I can't even go to my country club without people telling me how terrible and embarrassed they are. Get rid of him. We'll pay whatever it costs.
He may be in with the big-time owners, though, Kraft and Jerry Jones.
That's it. Jerry Jones must say, like, I'm going to keep him here because I like him.
Wait a minute.
It's a good
Jerry Jones just walked in here. Jerry Jones just walked in here, man.
I think Daniel is a fine man.
This is unexpected.
If Jerry wanted him gone, he would be gone.
Yeah.
If Jerry wanted, so what does he know? How is he keeping this job? This is amazing.
He may have something on him. He may have something on him. The ones with the power, he got something on him, man. No way.
That music means it's time for us to go. We don't want to keep 3HL away from you guys because they're going to get you the rest of the way home. It hit 100 degrees today for the first time since 2012, almost 10 years.
Well, in the meantime, in between time, I want to hear Jerry Jones, let us go home.
Peace, everybody.